And now here we are at episode 400, which of course was my very, very last episode. I actually had walked into the Grundy offices 7 weeks earlier and said, I'm giving you 7 weeks' notice and leaving the show. I felt that I had learnt so much about B. Smith and there was nothing more to learn, that she had nothing more to offer me. And I had another interesting offer elsewhere and decided to take it up. So I walked in and said, well, that's it. And then Sheila Florence, who played Lizzie Birdsworth, of course, brilliantly, said, well, if Val's leaving, I'm leaving too. And they talked her into actually staying a bit longer than me so that the two characters didn't leave on the same episode. And I begged them to allow B to kill the freak. But of course, having lost the two most favourite characters I think ever from the show, B and Lizzie, there's no way they could afford to lose the freak. So the freak had the job of getting rid of B, which I'm sure the freak really enjoyed. And they wouldn't kill me either. They wouldn't kill B, I mean. Sometimes I get a bit confused. They wouldn't kill B off. And instead they had her transported. They sent off to another prison, to good old Barnhurst. One of the things that I loved about working on Prisoner was the brave, brave storylines. The fact that we spoke about very, very down-to-earth, very pertinent manners in a very down-to-earth manner. And because we could, because we were not polite young ladies at a garden tea party, we were real women and we were in prison. And one of the storylines that happens in the last episode that I was in, episode 400, is the euthanasia storyline, where Judy Bryant euthanasias, kills Hazel. And I think that was an incredibly brave storyline. It was a very groundbreaking series, Prisoner. We were in a situation where we could afford not to have to pull our punches. And I think that's one of the timeless things about the show. I think that's one of the reasons why you can keep watching it, because these storylines are still an issue. Domestic violence, incest, rape, murder, euthanasia, these things don't ever go away. They don't change a lot. And so I think that's why it's still possible to view Prisoner and appreciate it and enjoy it. Another surprise about episode 400, which I have to confess I had never seen before until yesterday, was that it was written by Ian Smith, who of course plays that character in Neighbours. He was also our script editor, and he also played a role in Prisoner, as you probably remember. He worked for the department, not a popular character. One of the nicest things about episode 400 for me was that the crew, to whom I was devoted, and as I've said before many times, taught me everything I knew about working in front of cameras, engineered to have the schedule altered. And they had my last scene in episode 400 left as the last scene shot that week. So my very, very last scene that I ever did in the studio was the very, very last scene that I was ever seen on air in Prisoner. They also added up all of the directors that I had worked for in all the episodes. All day they were saying, oh, then there was episode there, and then there's another one there. And they told me that I had worked for 42 different directors in 400 episodes. I also threw a party that night at the studio with Channel 10's permission for the crew. Any cast members that were still there, and there were very few of them, it was late at night, were invited as well, of course, and so they came along, but it was mostly for the crew, and we had a jolly good time too. And something else that I did for the crew and everybody that I worked with on the last day was I was famous, Val Lehman was famous for finding four-leaf clovers. Whenever we were out in the prison garden in the grass, and I was always finding four-leaf clovers. And a lot of people said, I didn't even know they ever really existed. No, they're four-leaf clovers. I also used to make silver jewellery. So I had made the original, and I had them all cast identically. I made sterling silver four-leaf clovers for absolutely everybody that worked with me on my last day on Prisoner. And I have since sort of, worked on things, and a director I saw once was one of these around his neck, and I said, "Hi, I don't remember your name, but you were obviously in the last scene that I did, or the last week that I did on Prisoner." He said, "Yes, I directed it."